because I always forget starting the recording on time. So as I was saying, like this is the 6th week of the course, so that means that we will have the exam for the first term this week. In talking about the format, this is just for you to keep in mind. We're gonna have the exam on 2 different days. So that's likely exam is gonna have 2 parts, and that's gonna be Thursday and Friday this week. Thursday and Friday this week. So that's September the 10th and 11th. Okay, those 2 days is when the exam is gonna take place. September the 10th, September 11th. So as I said, we are still working on the format. So I will explain this a little bit better, I believe, on perhaps tomorrow or on Wednesday, just for you to know exactly what the format of exam is. So that's just for you to keep in mind. There is another thing, but let me just double check right away. It will take just a minute. Give me 1 second. 7, 8. Okay, so yeah. Also talking about the book. This should be like the last week we actually work on that. So we are missing just 2 chapters. So that means that you guys, I would like you guys to finish the book this week, and the next week we're gonna have one final exercise regarding it. So that's related to the book, but it's like we are on track. So yeah, the first thing is that we're gonna have the exam by the end of this week. That's Thursday and Friday. Those 2 days are for the exam. So what I can tell you about it is that one of those days is going to be the equivalent of the paper-based exam. As I said, we are still working on that. And then on the next day, we're gonna have the speaking part of the exam. And for the speaking part of the exam, what I can tell you so far is that what I would do is to make like breakout rooms. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 people, that depends on time also. And then I would go to each one of the groups and we do the activity, which is the actually, the speaking exam, and then you guys are free to go. But that's, as I said, is something I'm gonna explain on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm gonna give you all the details on that. And talking about the topics, well, it's basically what we've been working on. So you know that there is a special emphasis on speaking, right? So yes, if we talk about the contents, it's basically what we have been studying. You have to check all this vocabulary that we've been studying as well. But as I said, that's something that I would like to explain in detail on Wednesday, so you have like all the relevant information about it on Wednesday. Okay. There is just one topic that we are somehow missing to cover, and that's what we're gonna do today. So today we're gonna be talking about one of those topics that we are missing to cover, as I said. And tomorrow we'll try to make like a wrap-up session, let's say, in which we are going to pretty much go over all the topics that we discussed during the term. So it's like we have a summary of the things that we need to keep in mind for the exam. As I said, that will be tomorrow. And also on Wednesday, we're gonna continue working on some other, contents and everything. And then on Thursday and Friday, we're gonna have the exam. Okay, so that's pretty much how it goes. Yeah, so that's it. So during this week, I will explain everything you might need to know about not just the exam, but also about the term itself and about the grades and everything. So next week, we will start the 7th week of the course, and that means we're gonna start also, the 2nd term of the course, and then everything will be, be a new cycle, let's say. Okay, so guys, I'd like to know if you have any questions so far.
No, teacher.
No, great. Good news is that as we'll have exam by the end of this week, that means that we still have like 3 days more to go over certain topics. let's say, and to review perhaps some things and make sure we know exactly what we want to cover in the exam. And also that will give you the chance to make questions and solve any sort of doubt that you could have about that. Okay, guys, so as I said, we are going to cover one of the missing topics we have from this first term. So if you remember, during the week number 4, we were talking about success and fame and what it takes to be successful, different concepts on success and stuff. And there was a topic that was connected to it that we couldn't, I couldn't cover during those days, and that's what's related to skills, professional skills. Okay, and I mentioned it back then, but we didn't cover it. So that's essentially what we will be covering today and perhaps tomorrow. Okay, so guys, let's start with that. I'm going to share my screen so you can see some pictures that I need you to have a look at. Wait a minute. Where is it? Okay. Okay, guys. Oh, did you guys see the cats? Yeah, because I left. I left the well, what exactly? Oh my God! I left my studio doors open, so they are like fooling around everywhere. So, okay, my screen. Okay, guys. So, like as I said, we're gonna be talking about professional skills and stuff. So, I would like to start with this word. This is going to be the initial word for today. So, the thing is that in Spanish, we have a very similar word. So, I believe this is going to be piece of cake, like super easy for you guys to know what it means. So, what I would like you to do now is just to give me a synonym of this word. So occupation, is there any other word that we can use instead this one? Well, what could be a possible synonym of this one, of this word?
Job.
There you go, right? Super easy. So a synonym of occupation might be job. Sometimes it happens, guys, that people get confused with this word and this other one, right? Like they sometimes use them in like in the same context, right? So that we have to make a difference here, and that's why I started by pointing out occupation. So occupation and job, they are synonyms, and the difference perhaps between these two words and work is that occupation and job have to do more with a title, you see, with a title or position, you see. So it's like you have certain job, it means that you have a position or title in a company. So you might be a nurse, a doctor, a teacher, a watchman, I don't know. So it's like a title, it's the name of what you do. That would be occupation or job, right? But in the case of work, is different because work refers to what you do in that occupation, you see. So sometimes it's like if you refer like I'm looking, like estoy buscando trabajo, you wouldn't say something like I'm looking for a work, or no, like of course you would say I'm looking for a job, right? And also, but on the other side, on the other hand, if you want to present something you did, and it's like, look, this is what I did, whatever it is, it would be more like, this is my work, this is what I did, you say. So that's just for you to keep in mind, because sometimes I've heard that people mix them. So job and occupation refer to titles or positions, you see. So that's different. Yeah, jobs and occupations refer to that, to title or positions. But work refers to what you do, you see, to what you actually do. So that means that would be, and you put it here, the activity itself, you see. So that's different. That refers to the activity you do in a certain occupation or job. So that's just for you to keep in mind. Okay, guys, so this is what
Here,
I will, yes, yes,
here,
yes.
about the job is the same with the word profession because it's a little and it's a position, yeah,
Yes,
or no?
exactly. Yeah. Job and occupation would be like profession. Once again, they refer to titles, they refer to the name of whatever you do. So yeah, if you say profession, you would be talking about something similar to occupation or job. The thing is that profession is a more restrictive term. It means that it's more specific. When we talk about occupation, we just talk about anything we do for a living. You see? So I'm gonna put it here because that expression is super important. So for a living. So what we refer to for this, like for a living, it means what you do to live basically. So if for instance, let's say you say, I I I teach English for a living. I teach English for a living. It means that like that's what you do in life. You say that's how you earn the money that you need for a living basically. You see, so occupation or job, occupation is what you do for a living. So occupation is super general, so you can include some like professional work, but you can also include informal jobs, for instance. You say, so occupation is very general. Job is also quite general, but it's something a little bit more formal, let's say. Although the difference is quite little, you say, when you talk about occupation or job. But profession is more specific because it's an occupation, right? But it's also an occupation that requires certain specific qualifications, you see? So it's different because occupation, it could be something like cleaning. You see, it's like you don't need to go to the university for that. But a profession is something, professional. So it means that you have certain qualifications, certain preparation um, for that. So it's somehow different. Um, there is also another word which is related to it, and you have to be very careful because this is one of the most common mistakes people do in a university level. And I also already explained this, and that has to do with career. Don't you guys forget that. So when sometimes people, and actually, if you translate this word, if you look for this word in the dictionary, career is carrera, right? But it's not a professional program. It's not a university degree. A career is like the it's everything related with your professional development and working experience. You see, so if you say my career as a teacher, that includes your studies, so your university degree, but also it includes all your experience you've had as a teacher. So career is it's wider. It's not just the university studies. So that's why we said that when we want to refer to what you study in the university, you would use instead the expression major. So it's like you guys, for instance, are studying a major in languages, right? A major in modern languages, or you can also say a university degree, right? A university degree in modern languages. Or you can say I'm studying about bachelor's in modern languages. But if you want to keep it simple, major or university degree, not career, like never. You see, so it's like this career is very hard. Well, yeah, but we are not referring just to the university studies, but everything related to it. Okay, guys, so this is some vocabulary related to jobs and working and stuff. Okay, so now I'm gonna just delete all these words and I'm gonna just stay with this one, occupation. And this is what I'm going to do. There are there are two letters which are repeated, right? So I'm gonna change the color of those ones, although I should somehow, well. Okay, so there are, these two are repeated, so that's why I just changed the color, although, let me see, just to make it super obvious that I want you to ignore them, I'm gonna just cross them. Oh, by the way, I've got a question for you guys. I've got a question for you guys. So if I do this, let me show it to you. Several actions we can do with a text. So if I do this, guys, let me see. If I do this, how do you call this action? Look, this action that I just made. See, this action, how do you call that?
Underline?
That's
Yes.
underline. That's underline. But what happens if I do this? What is this, guys? Look, this. Oh my God. What is this? How do you call that?
Highlight.
That's highlight. Very good. And the last one I would like you to think of is this. How do you call this one? How do you call that one, guys? Just like this. Look. How do you call that? No idea? Oh, no? Okay. So we call it cross, to cross. Okay? Like cruzar, just like that. To cross. So I will, myself, cross the letters which are repeated in this word. Okay? So there are two words, two letters which are repeated. So I'm going to cross them for a reason. I'm going to tell you why. So I want you to ignore those two letters, okay? I want you to ignore the letters which are repeated. So I just changed the color and I also crossed them. So guys, what I would like you to do now individually is to think about at least one occupation or job or profession related to each one of these letters. So you have to think of a profession or occupation that starts with this letter. So a job that starts with O-C-U-P-A-T-I-N, okay? And you guys have around 3 minutes. So please do it individually on your notebooks, on Word, whatever. Just make a brainstorm really quick of professions that or occupations that start with these letters, okay? And let's see who's got the highest number. Come on, guys. You guys have around 3 minutes for that. Okay, guys, time's up. So, would you please tell me one occupation starting with O?
Optometrist.
Optometrist. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Odontology.
Let me just. Okay, that's one option. Do we have another option, guys? No.
Odontology.
Odontologist. Very good. Oh my God, I feel like I will misspell one word. Okay, great. So we got two at least. Now, starting with C.
Carpenter.
Carpenter. Carpenter, just like that. Carpenter, yeah, carpenter. Okay, what else, guys? Is that it? Don't be shy.
Chef.
Chef, that's a very good one, of course, absolutely. Thank you. Okay,
Cardiologist.
Cardiologist, well, getting sophisticated. Cardiologist, great. Now, guys, starting with you.
Urologist.
Urologist, yeah, I was thinking about that one. Urologist. What else?
Nurse.
Excuse me.
Nurse.
Nurse, starting with you. Are you
Nurse.
sure about that? I don't think so. I can't hear you. Wait a minute. Argent? What do you mean by argent? Argent. I just know one meaning of the word and I don't believe that's a profession. So let's leave it like that. At least we have one, right? What about P?
Pilot.
Pilot, very good. What else? Somebody?
Painter.
Painter and photographer. Yeah.
Police.
And police. Photographer.
Postman.
Postman, wow, yes. We've got so many options there. Postman and police. Okay, great. We've got lots of professions. What about A? That would be easier. A?
Actor.
Actor, yes. Actress, right?
Air hostess.
Uh-huh. Is it like this? If I'm not wrong, yes, air hostess.
Astronomic.
Astronaut, right? Oh, by the way, guys, I've got a, this could be the, did you know what, of today, like astronaut. I don't know if you guys have heard it, but there are like two different words pretty much for the same occupation, and that's astronaut, and the other one is this. Have you heard of two words? Actually, in Spanish, we got them. We say astronauta, cosmonauta. Have you heard that?
Yes, teacher.
There you go.
Cosmonauta, yes.
What's the difference between an astronaut and a cosmonaut? What would be the difference?
One is the USA and another of Russia.
There you go. That's the difference. Give me 1 second. So yeah, that's essentially the difference. So when we refer to an astronaut, we are referring to a, you know, American or European astronaut, basically, and the cosmonaut is the Russian equivalent. So the only difference is basically the nationality, but that refers to the same occupation. Great. Then we have T. What about T, guys?
Teacher.
Oh, right, teacher.
Translator.
Translator. Yeah, translator. Uh-huh.
Therapist.
Therapist. Therapist. Okay, so we got 3 very interesting options. What about I?
Illustrator.
Illustrator. That's a very interesting job. Illustrator. What else, guys? Come on.
Investigator, teacher, maybe, or
Yeah.
investigator. Or,
Investigator. Yeah, you can call it like that. And well, that's it, I believe. What about N? This is the last one. N.
Nurse.
Nurse.
Nurse. Here you go. Nurse. And that's it.
Nun, N-U-N.
Nun. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Okay,
Narrator.
guys. Narrator. Well, yes, that's also a possibility, right? Narrator. And there are lots of different narrators also. Okay, guys. So yeah, those were just some examples, and this is just for us to keep in mind, or like to know exactly what an occupation is. So as we can say, all of these words refer to things that people do for a living, right? And we've got lots of different levels here. So these are occupations, these are jobs, these are not works. You see, these are not works, these are jobs or occupations, or even professions in most of the cases. So this is essentially what we've got there. So there are some things, like, of course, all these occupations that you guys brainstorm are different, and they require different levels of a specialty, let's say, and each one of them require different skills, of course. But anyways, there are some skills that could be perhaps needed for all these cases, right? So give me 1 second. Now I'm gonna tell you what we are going to do in this moment. Okay, so basically, we are going to think about, this process of finding a job, right? So that's what I would like you to think of. So I'm gonna show you an image here. So sorry. Give me 1 second. Yeah, this one. So this is the worksheet we're gonna be working on today. So I'm gonna share it with you in a moment. So where is it? Okay, can you see the picture, guys?
Yes, teacher.
There you go. Okay, guys, so this is what I would like you to do. So the first thing is that, how many people do we see in the picture? Two.
Two
right?
people, teacher.
And that, how do you call, what is going on in the picture? What's the situation in the picture?
Maybe an interview.
We have like the interviewer and the yes, the other person.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly what I wanted you to say. That's exactly what I wanted you to say. So let's stop there, and let's go again to the words, because that's what I need you to think of. So in an interview, when there is an interview, there are at least 2 different people, right? So one of them is the person who conducts the interview, which is like hacer una entrevista would be to conduct an interview. So the person who conducts the interview, the person who's in charge, is what we call the interviewer. You see, that's the name of the person who conducts the interview. And we are missing the name of the person who presents the interview, or the person who goes there for the interview. And that's something we call like this. Interviewee, okay? That's the name of it. So the interviewer, el entrevistador, and then the interviewee, which is el entrevistado, okay? Interviewer, interviewee, okay? So let's go back to so let's keep this in mind, guys. This is some essential vocabulary. So in an interview, somebody conducts an interview. So it's like hacer la entrevista, to conduct an interview. And the person who conducts the interview is the interviewer, and the person who presents it, the person who goes there for the job, basically, is the interviewee, okay? So that's what we got there. So let's go back to the picture. Here we go. So we got these two different people, right? And I'm gonna just tell you that the woman, she's the interviewer, okay? She is the interviewer, and the man is the interviewee. So based on that, what I would like you guys to think of is that, well, let's give the woman a name. So the woman's gonna be called Susan, let's say. Okay, that's the name we're gonna give her. So Susan is making this, she's conducting the interview, and she is the manager of a large company, okay? She's the manager of a large company and wants to recruit somebody to work in her office, okay? She wants to recruit someone. And that's also a part of vocabulary. I'm gonna just put it on the chat box to make it a little bit faster. So this is the word, recruit. Recruit is like to find someone. So she wants to recruit someone for her team, you see? How do you call that in Spanish? That's like recruitment. Like recruitment, the process of recruitment is what they call, sometimes they say reclutamiento, and that's the actual, you know, literal translation. But we can also call it just like convocatoria or something. So she is in the middle of a recruitment process. So she needs to recruit a person, right, to work in her company. And as I said, also, she is the manager of a large company. You see, she is a manager in a large company. She's conducting this interview because she wants to recruit someone for her team. So yeah, that's what we got so far. So guys, what I would like you to think of is to think about the kind of person she wants. So you know that she's looking for a person for her company, right? But I'd like you to think of the kind of person she's looking for. What I mean by this, is that there are some characteristics, some features she might be looking in a person. So just to give you an example on how you have to do this. So you're gonna do something similar to what you just said, you just did before, which is like a list of words. But this time I would like you to make a list of words that we can use to describe a person, professionally speaking. You know, like characteristics of a good worker, let's say. This is something you guys are gonna do in groups this time. But just to give you obvious examples, like responsible, right? So she is looking for a responsible person. She's also looking for a respectful person. Just to give you a couple of very obvious examples. So what I would like you guys to do is to make a list of very, but a little bit more specific than this, because perhaps respectful is quite obvious. But I would like you to think of characteristics of the person that she is looking for, you know, in the for the job. Okay, is it clear, guys? It's super easy. This is very simple. It's just a list of words. We're gonna take around 3 to 4 minutes more or less to make this list. Okay. So remember, it's a list of words that like adjectives that we can use to describe a person, the person that she's looking for in this interview, let's say. So we're gonna make the groups, 6 groups, guys. Let's do this. Once we come back here, I would like you just to give me the words and we will share them. Okay, let's do this. Okay, guys, as you come back to the main session, what I would like you guys to do now to share those adjectives that you guys found, I'm going to share here on the chat box a link to a Jamboard. So this is a Jamboard that all of us are going to use. So I would like you guys to enter there and just type your adjectives. So you don't have to do it with sticky notes, but just with the text tool. Okay, that's what I would like you guys to do. So as I said, there is this link to the Jamboard, guys. So I would like you to enter the Jamboard and just write the adjectives that you guys discuss in your groups. So anybody who wants to do it, if all of you guys want to join it and write it, you can do it. You can just, and I will share the screen here just to show you, although you know how to do it. So you just enter
It's
here.
only one Jamboard for each of the person.
Yeah, it's one for all of us. It's one for all of us. So you can click here on the left column here, this panel we've got, text box, then here, and then you just write it. You say, so for instance, I will put one of them, punctual. That's it, you see? So that's what I mean. Don't use a sticky notes, but text. Just text, okay? So we got just one. So guys, I would like you just to put all your words here. I mean, okay, just use a sticky notes if you want, no big deal. So discipline, teamwork, teamworking should be a team worker, right? Enthusiastic, I believe. Enthusiastic. Teamwork is also very important, of course. What else? It should be an autonomous person, right? Absolutely, yes. Autonomous person. Committed, yes, super important. Has to be a committed person. What else? Come on, guys, you can do this. We've got 10 people here, so we need them to put their ideas. Problem solving is also important. Although, guys, remember that we are putting here the adjectives. So in some cases, you are putting nouns. So be careful. So Juan says empowered. Somebody put it here, please. So problem solving, this one here, this is a noun. So what would be the adjective? You see? How can we convert this into an adjective? Same thing happens with team working. Team working is not an adjective. That's a noun. So we should transform that into adjectives. So respectable. What do you mean? I think perhaps if you want to say like respetuoso, the word is different. In that case, it would be respectful. Respectful. Autonomous, kind, punctual. Teamwork, we gotta correct this one. Confident, cautious, open-minded, very good. Creative, empowered, tidy, a hard worker, competent. Creative again. So I'm gonna correct this too. So in the case of problem solving, should be a problem solver. Although, well, a problem solving person. No, actually, yes, that's also a possibility. I'm so sorry for that. Actually, that's a possibility. So a problem-solving person, you can say that. Team-working person, no. I would say like he's a good team worker, I would say. Agile. This one is missing an E, just like this. Agile. There we go. Friendly, organized, patient, empowered, tidy, hard worker. Okay, there you go. Okay, guys, so these are very good examples of adjectives of features that we look for in the person when we are in the middle of a recruitment process, right? So if in the case of Susan, this woman in the picture, she's looking for a person for her company. And of course, these are some of the adjectives that we may find, we may look for in a person. And this is something that we know that that works independently from the job, let's say, right? So it doesn't matter what job it is. Of course, these are features which we would value. Okay, guys, great, excellent. So now, give me one second as I organize my stuff here. So there we go. Okay, guys, so I'm going to share with you the link to the worksheet that we are going to use today. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy paste the link. Yes, so I'm going to share the link here as you suggested once. I'm gonna share it here on the chat box and also on the WhatsApp group. Okay, so here, oh no, this is not the, I'm sorry, this is not the link. This is a Jamboard. Give me 1 second. So here it is, guys. This is the link to the worksheet, and I will also share it on the WhatsApp group. Okay, so you guys also have it there. So there is a link. So that's the link to the worksheet that I was sharing with you just a couple of minutes ago. Okay, so guys, this is the worksheet. So what I would like you guys to do is to read this this sort of, you know, dialogue with the characteristics of the person that she's looking for. Okay, so that's the first thing I would like you to do, and somehow, like, as you read that, I would like you to sort of make a connection with the words that you guys did before. So it's like, this is what I meant. In groups, you guys made a list of words, right? When you were in the breakout rooms, what you guys were doing was just to make this list of words that define these characteristics. So what I would like you guys to do now is to have a look at this worksheet number 2, as we have it here. And I would like you to do essentially 3 things, guys. So please pay attention fully. You guys will go back to the breakout rooms and you guys will do basically 3 things. The first one is to see if those words that you talked about before are reflected here. So for instance, let's say you said, well, for instance, you say energetic, right? Energetic. So let's try to look for that word here. Of course, it might happen that it's not exactly there, but there might be a word which is similar. So you say self-motivated. Well, yeah, that's like related, right? So what I would like you to do, the first thing to do, is to see if those words that you think of before are somehow reflected here. So we find like similarities, okay, between what you guys thought of before and what's actually here. That's the first thing. The second thing I would like you guys to do is to spot and to look for vocabulary that could be new, okay? Because there are several words that perhaps might be new. So I would like you to highlight those words if that's the case, and perhaps look up those words in the dictionary if you don't know the meaning. Of course. Oh, okay. So of course. Okay. So chances are that perhaps there is a word that you guys don't know, but somebody in your group does. So it's like, I would like you to understand 100% this. And the third thing that I would like you to do is to drill the pronunciation of some words that perhaps are new for you, or words that you guys are not like 100% sure about. So what I mean by drill is like to practice. So for instance, you might say, I don't know, how do you say this one, guys? How do you say this word over here? This one.
Reliable.
Reliable. But sometimes people might say something different. Reliable, I don't know. So reliable, we know, we call it like that. So I would like you to check those words that perhaps you are not fully aware of, and you can discuss it in groups, okay? So I'd like you to do those 3 things. And for that, I'm gonna give you around 7 minutes more or less, and I'll be jumping from group to group to help you and answer any questions you may have. Is that clear, guys?
Yes, teacher.
Excellent. So give me a second because there is a group which is not complete here. 5. Okay, guys. So let's go to the breakout rooms. So let me just start recording. Okay, guys. So you guys are back here on the main session. So let me just share my screen again. Okay, guys. So now that you guys have done this exercise, I would love to draw your attention upon these words which are in bold. So the words which are in bold are this. So the first one is self-motivated. So do you guys understand the meaning of this one? Self-motivated. You know what that is, guys, by any chance? Self-motivated. What's that, guys?
I think that is that you have to be motivated, and then, for example, that the manager don't say, "Hey, come on, you have to do it," but you have, like it says, the initiative. We have to.
Excellent. Yeah.
We need to have.
Yeah, it's basically just like what's here, which is to use your own initiative. So you don't need anybody to tell you what to do, but you know, like you do it because you want. The next one, punctual, is very easy because it's quite similar to the word in English, in Spanish, right? So punctual, which is a problem that we Colombians tend to have, right? So sometimes we have problems with that, and actually Latin Americans in general. The next one is reliable. What's that, guys? Reliable. This one. What's a reliable person? What's that?
A person that you can trust.
A person you can trust, right? So it's a person you can trust, which means that if you got any problem, any doubt, whatever, you know that that person has your back, let's say. So for instance, here in the text, they say later, my last assistant sometimes forgot to do things. So this is an example of someone who was not reliable, right? For example. Then there is this other expression, manage their time well. To manage your time well, which is quite obvious, right? Which is to use your time wisely in a good way. And this one, guys, super important, really, really important. Work to a deadline. What's that, guys? What is to work to a deadline?
I guess that is deliver the things at a deadline.
Yeah, that's basically it, which means that you know what's the deadline is the time limit, let's say, for activities. So they say, for example, you gotta present this before Friday noon. So you do it in the morning or something, you do it before. So that means that you don't like take longer, you don't take more time for doing things. So that is to work to a deadline. Then interpersonal skills, right? Which is basically a set of skills, which includes all your skills to communicate with others and to talk to others and have a good communication. And then the last one, flexible, which means that you can adapt to changes, right? So guys, this is what I would like you to think of now. Here in the worksheet number 3, we have a series of expressions coming from the worksheet. So actually we already did it somehow. So here are some definitions just to clarify those expressions involved. So I am self-motivated means that I want to work. If I'm punctual, it means that I come on time, not late, right? And actually, guys, by the way, there is a difference. Let me just show it to you. What would be the difference between to come or to arrive in time versus on time? What would be the difference? Do you guys know it? On time versus in time. What could be the difference? If we change the prepositions there, what could be the difference, guys? No idea.
I think that on time is above the time, and I think in time is with time.
Okay.
Teacher, well, on time is to refer. Never mind. I get confused. No.
So they are slightly the same. I mean, they are almost the same, but there is a little difference. If you say that you arrive on time, it means that that you arrive with good time, let's say. So for instance, let's say we have a meeting. We have a meeting at 10 in the morning, and then you arrive at 9:55 or 9:50. So that means that you arrived on time, you see, with no problem. But if you arrive in time, is that you just made it through to the time, which means that, for instance, we have a meeting at 10 and you arrive at 10, or you arrive at 9:59, you see? So it's just like in time. That's what it means, you see? Which means that you were punctual, but almost not. You see, it's like you were just right there. Or even here for Colombian standards, if we have a meeting at 10 and then you arrive at 10:01, 10:02, there is no problem. But that would be in time, you see? So on time means that you are punctual, but with some time perhaps before, let's say. You see? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like it's better on time than in time. If you arrive in time, it means that you were like running a little bit. But on time means that you made it without any problem. Okay, so to come on time, to be reliable, if you tell me to do something, I'll do it. I can use my own initiative, so you don't need to tell me what to do all the time. I can manage my time well. I don't waste time, and I do the things which need doing when they need doing. I can work to a deadline, which means I finish my work when it's needed, and I don't do my work late. I have good interpersonal skills. I'm good at working with other people, and I am flexible or adaptable, which means that I can change the way I work if my job needs me to do something different. Okay, guys, so now here in the worksheet number 4, we got a series of questions. And what are these questions? These are possible questions in an interview. These are some of the typical questions that we are asked in an interview. However, guys, let's think about all these things that we just have a look at in the worksheet number 3, which is the exercise we just did. So if you guys say, let's say we are in an interview and you say, I am self-motivated, I'm a punctual person. I would like you to think about examples of that. I would like you to think about actual evidence that you can use for that, you see? So, and this is actually a tip for you. For instance, in my case, sometimes when I need people for my projects, and well, we start the recruitment processes and then we do the interviews and everything. One of the things that I've seen that happens a lot in the interviews is that people talk about suppositions. Let's see, did you say? So that's something that we always say to people in the interviews, and we are explicit about it. And is that, for instance, it depends on the organizations, of course, but at least in the case of the British Council, we always ask people to give us examples of what they say, or to base their answers on experiences, on cases, you see? Because it would be super easy to say, I'm a very reliable person, I am super self-motivated, and I'm punctual. And I say, okay, you see, like, okay, you can say that. Or if I ask a person to tell me about a case in which he or she had problems managing a team, and then they say something like, well, when you are managing a team, it is very important to respect people because people sometimes feel affected, blah, 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 blah. So they just talk about suppositions, but they don't give you examples of their lives, like stories or evidence about that. So for instance, if you say, I am punctual, give me an example. So you would say like, well, I'm a very punctual person. For example, every time I have a class at 7, I try to get there by 6:45, 6:50. So I've got some time for reading my notes and prepare for the class. Okay, thank you. You see, you gave me an example of what you mean. You see, so every time we talk about something, which is a characteristic of ourselves, we should think about possible examples. So these questions in the worksheet number 4 are for that, basically. All these questions are questions that somehow can take us there. And in some cases, if the questions are not explicit like that, let's try to answer the questions using examples, okay? And this is let's say, a piece of advice for you, a tip for you. Whenever, guys, you have an interview, just don't talk about yourselves like that, but try to give examples of whatever you say. And real examples, like stories. When we do an interview, when we conduct an interview, we like to listen to people's stories. And actually, the stories of people are what actually give us the information we need. And even more, if you can quantify those stories, which means that you can use numbers to illustrate what you were doing. So for instance, this question, can you give me an example of a time when you use your interpersonal skills? And then, for instance, if you say, like, well, I believe that it is very important to have very good interpersonal skills, because sometimes people don't know how to talk to each other, and that's how problems show up. You see, so it's like, that's not what I'm asking. You see, I'm not asking your opinion about interpersonal skills. I said, can you give me an example of a time when you use your interpersonal skills? And it's unbelievable, guys. It's like sometimes we make these interviews to people who have a lot of experience, and they don't listen to the question correctly, and they don't know how to answer. So if I'm asked this question, I should think of an example. So let's say I'm presenting an interview. An interviewer says, can you give me an example of a time when you use interpersonal skills? So I would say, for instance, in the year 2018, I was working in this university in which I was in charge of a project, and I had a team of 4 professors working with me. Sometimes there were some guidelines which were not very clear. So we designed a protocol so people would see exactly the tasks that they had to work on every day. And I also would take around 15 to 20 minutes every Monday to talk to each one of the members of the team, just to make sure they understood what they had to do. You see? So in that case, I was talking about a specific time in my life. I was talking about the number of people I was working with, and I was talking about the techniques or the processes that I would follow. And I also quantified the time that I would use in the activity, you see? So that's how we need to answer these questions in the interviews. Always, and please to keep that in mind, guys, like for good, like forever. Whenever you present an interview, try to think about at least 2 things. First, real life examples that you can use to illustrate your answers. And second, try to quantify those answers. Try to use numbers so the interviewer sorts of makes an idea of what you were doing, you see? So those are 2 very powerful resources that we can use when presenting an interview. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Hello?
Yes.
Please keep that in mind. So that's what we are going to practice in this moment, guys. So when we present an interview, chances are that we have an interview just one-on-one, just 2 people, right? Like interviewer, interviewee. And in some cases, also, it might be that the interviewer interviews 2 people at the same time. So let's see, how can we do this exercise? So I make sure that nobody's left alone, because that's the only thing that makes me that I'm worried about. Because, okay guys, so we're gonna do the exercise, and we need to do it in pairs. So please, I need you to try to do 2 things. First, of course, to actually, use your microphones, because it's like there is no other way to do this. And if you can use your cameras, that's even better. Basically, what we're gonna do now is to role play an interview. Okay, we are going to role play an interview. So each one of you guys is going to take a different role. Okay, so let's say I am working with Jose. So I say, okay, first I will be the interviewer and you're the interviewee, and then we change the roles. Okay, so we're gonna take around more or less 5 minutes with each one of the turns. So when I am the interviewer, I just have to check these questions and I just make the questions however I want. Okay? So I start and I say, okay, tell me about yourself. This would be perhaps the best question to start with. Okay? And then I would make another question, but you guys are free to jump to each one of the questions and make the questions however you want. Okay? But the most important thing is you guys as interviewees try to answer the questions using examples. That's what we're gonna practice, okay? So if they ask you, what can you do for this company that other people can? And you say, I will work very hard. Give me an example. So you say like, I can work very hard, for instance, like 2 years ago when I was working in this school, blah, 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 and then you tell a story. You can make up the answers, which is like, you can be very creative and lie here, because this is a role play. But what I need you to do is to think about, examples and practice answering these questions, giving examples, and if possible, quantifying your answers, using numbers to illustrate your answers better. Okay, guys, you understand what we gotta do now?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
That's what you're gonna do. So it's you guys are gonna work in pairs, so that's why it's super important, although there is a person who's been left alone. Oh my God, this is what I meant. So in case guys, there are groups of 3 people, I would need you to please, like one person would take the role of the interviewer and 2 people would be the interviewee. You see, so it's like I make the question to two people and they would answer the question to me. And then when we change the role, one of the interviewees would interview the other person. Do you understand?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, sir.
So give me 1 second because I need to reassign a person who's alone. Here we go, guys. Oh my God, the thing is that you keep on going, entering and leaving the so that's a problem. Okay, guys, so let's do this. Try not to leave the rooms. And remember, you have to use your microphones, of course. And if you can use your cameras, way better, because this is an interview. Okay, we're gonna take around 10 minutes for the whole activity. If you have questions, just call me. Let's do this. Okay, guys, so welcome back again to the main session. As you guys can see, even though the questions are easy to understand and it's like you can actually understand what you're expected to say, it is actually very hard sometimes to express what you want to say clearly. And even more if you need to think about experiences and even quantify those experiences, that tends to be a little bit tough. So there is no doubt that that's something we need to practice and practice and practice and practice. And believe me, even people, professionals with lots of experience, they still have this kind of issue. So what I would like you to think about, guys, you know, for the rest of your life somehow. It's like, you know, the importance of always trying to use real life examples and quantify your experience. That's very important whenever you are presenting an interview. Try to avoid just talking about suppositions and talking about hypothetical situations or scenarios. Try to always talk about something that you have done, you know, and real life examples. Yeah, Jose, I'm already recording. I know I always forget it, but this time I didn't. So it's recording, no big deal. So yeah, that's just for you guys to take into account. Also, guys, this exercise was a little practice for the format that we're gonna have on the speaking part of the test this week. So the speaking part of the exam on Friday is going to be very similar to this, but we will do it in groups. So that means that just imagine what you guys did today, but with me. You see, it's like, so it might be like 2 or 3 people at the same time, and I will join you and make some questions. So that's more or less the format. So I also wanted you to do this exercise so you guys would get more, you know, familiar with it. Also, just to finish, guys, and for you to remember, do not forget that next week, like we are missing 2 chapters of the book, right? We're missing like chapters 9 and 10. So that's what we're gonna be doing during this week. You guys will be reading those 2 chapters, and the final assignment for the book won't be a book report like the ones you've done, but remember, it will be a review, and that will be for the next week. Okay, but those are details I'll give you tomorrow. So I believe that will be assigned for the next Monday. So you guys would have to read the 2 chapters during this week and then work on the review for the next Monday, you know, next week. But those are details I'll give you tomorrow. Okay, guys? So that's essentially it. That's essentially it for today. I'd like to know if you guys have any question before I call the attendance, and then.
Yes, teacher, I have a question.
Yes, mister.
How do you say in English bajonearse?
Like to like emotionally, like to feel
Yes,
bad emotionally. There are several expressions. One of them is to let down. Let down, like for instance, if you say, and actually there is a song from by the Beatles, "Don't Let Me Down." That's the name of the song. So if you say like, yeah, that was a very hard situation and it totally let me down. So something let you down means something makes you feel sad. Also, if it's a little bit like if it's feeling bad but stressed, like you feel sad but also you feel like you're about to start crying or something, the expression there, I'm gonna write it on the chat box, is to crack under the pressure, like this. Crack.
Yes, it's for example when you are working or in the class you say something bad, so you feel like oh my god, immediately you. Yes.
Yes, like let's say like yeah, the teacher made a question and I didn't know how to answer, so that let me down.
Okay.
That absolutely that let me down. Yes, that could be let you down. Crack under the pressure, the one I put here, it's different. It's perhaps if there is a lot of pressure and you feel like very sad but also stressed, we would say crack under the pressure. But no, that's way like further, like more serious. I would say to let you down, to if something lets you down or something. Or to feel downhearted, that's another one. To feel downhearted, like this. So that's like in Spanish saying sentirse desanimado, sentirse, yeah. Yes. So yeah, you can say that.
Okay, thank you.
Like feel sad or disappointed. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna call the attendance now before I forget it. Wow. Okay, so that's 7 here. Why? Okay, Brian Aguilera. Brian is not here. I haven't seen him today. John Jairo Herrera. Ana María, buen día.
I'm here, teacher.
Andrés Felipe Bueno.
I'm here.
Angie Sofía Carvajal.
I'm here.
José Alfonso Díaz. José Díaz.
Here, teacher.
Ajá. Tatiana Espitia.
I'm here, teacher.
Yoritza García.
I'm here, teacher.
John Sebastián González.
Here, teacher.
Tania Gómez.
Here, teacher.
David Santiago Hernández.
Here, teacher.
Ashley Huesa.
Here, teacher.
Marcela Jiménez. Linda López.
Here, teacher.
Johanna Martínez.
Present.
Clara Monroy.
Present, teacher.
Tatiana Obando.
Present, teacher.
Ana María Ortiz. Ana María, I think she was here. Dylan Páez.
Present, teacher.
Juan Esteban Páramo.
Present, teacher.
Estefanía Portugués.
Present, teacher.
Lina Fernanda Rodríguez.
Present, teacher.
Daniela Rodríguez.
Present, teacher.
María Alejandra Triana.
Present, teacher.
And Gloria Belandia. So yeah, guys, homework basically is to start reading the 2 final chapters of the book. That's essentially it for today. Tomorrow I'll give you all the details on the exam. I mean, whatever, everything related to the end of this term. So that's basically it. Okay, guys. So once again, as usual, thank you very much. The forecast today looks very good. The weather looking really good. So let's see what happens. So guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you didn't talk about the weather today.
But as you know, I cannot help it. I just made the mention by the end of a session.
Yes.
So there you go.
Okay, goodbye, teacher.
Goodbye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, teacher.
Bye,
Thank you.
teacher.
Bye,
Thank
teacher.
you.
Bye-bye.
You, teacher.
Teacher, how do you say saludos a los gatos?
Greetings to the cats.
Greetings to the
Greetings or greets. Okay, I will. I will. Okay, goodbye.